Good morning, friends. Steve here. And today's Friday, the 27th of the month of September, according to the Pope Gregory calendar that people have been using. A good portion, I think, of the world has been using that calendar created by Pope Gregory in the 1500s, I think. You could look it up. Pope Gregory calendar. But today is a day, and I was thinking that I'll just get right into setting up a healing field today because it seems like a great day to have a healing field. And I'll just mention a couple things that I have noticed relative to, so my perspective of myself in the world is an energy healer. Now, in terms of what that means, one would, could be a fairly long discussion, but it has to do somewhat and primarily with a person who has the ability to be balanced and grounded, and to ground the energies that come into that person, myself for example, that person's awareness, can ground the energies and remain stable. That term stability, there may be a feeling of instability when energetics are changing, where we're going from stuck energies to those energies being freed up. There may be a feeling of instability at that time. We may set up a healing field. You may choose to participate in that healing field. Therefore, that healing field is being set up for you. How you participate in it will affect how you experience it. So you could say, wow, that was one of the most powerful experiences of my life. Or you may say, well, I didn't really notice anything happen. That's kind of the broad spectrum of possibility. Nothing happened, or wow, my life changed. I'm participating for this week in the Collective Healing Conference, which is going on through October 1st. And you can participate in it free by just putting in your search engine, Collective Healing Conference, and then the primary focus of this. There are 45 presenters, but Thomas Hubel is the one that has brought this together over a number of years. The last, I think this is maybe the fourth one. But I listened to a gentleman from Africa who, and I'm just going to go ahead and click this and give you his name. So his name, if I pronounce it correctly, is Bayo Akomolafe. He's a PhD, he's an author, teacher, and trans public intellectual. And he was talking about healing, and he was talking about his perception of what a disturbance is a disturbance in the field, and what will need to heal is the community. So he takes it out of an individual issue into it's a community issue. And what needs to heal is the community needs to heal around this issue. So there's a very different perspective from the typical, I feel sick, I go to a doctor or a healer or a massage therapist or a chiropractor or a whatever. I go, my therapist, I go to someone because I'm disturbed, and then the therapist hopefully isn't disturbed, and the therapist helps us become less disturbed or undisturbed. And that's kind of the model, somewhat. I go to a doctor, doctors, depending on the type of doctor, I'm going to get different things from different doctors. And I like the perspective that illness is a community issue. And it's just something for us to think about over time and see if we would like to shift our perspective so we can begin to see that the issues of individuals are issues of the worlds. You know, there's many different worlds, and there's we could maybe agree on some aspects of them, but many worlds. So let's see. Already spoken 6 minutes, so I may be right in the little thing underneath that you could just skip to the 6 minute mark and just jump right into the healing. So I would ask you to state out loud, I ground myself. No, sorry. I've changed it so I get caught in the old one, which is, we'll do that part also, but I connect to my deep self. I connect to my higher self. I connect to my highest self. I ground myself into the healing center of the earth. I open myself to the healing power of the One. I let go of anything not useful to me now. And if you choose to, you can state, I choose to work with the Hathors. It will just help you in your healing journey. So we choose to set up a healing field for you and me, for us, for our community, heal the community. And I ask that the Brotherhood of Light please be present, and the Deva of Healing please be present. Pan of Nature please be present, and the Sisterhood of Light please be present. All of our helpers and guides please be present. Saint Germain please be present. Metatron please be present. Kuan Yin please be present. Master Mo please be present. Master Kun Li please be present. Christ consciousness please be present. The holders of space please be present. Sanat Kamara please be present. Abraham Anand please be present. Alcazar please be present. The interdimensional being please be present. Thoth and Ra please be present. Deep self please be present. Higher self please be present. The highest self please be present. Our soul ray group please be present. And I ask that we be placed in a field of protection while we do this work. I ask the higher self to take us through the portal of time to the event that would be of the highest good, to release and integrate at this time. And I invite all souls affected by this event to return to the event, to release and integrate the energy of the event for themselves. And I ask that they be placed in a field of protection while they do their work. Upon arrival at the event, I ask the higher self to assist us to release and integrate all energies of the event, gently and easily, fully and completely, on all levels and through all space and time. Now, if you just want to work with those energies that we've returned to, the event that we've returned to, then you can hit the pause button now and come back later, and we'll do the closing of the field. But meanwhile, I'm going to talk a bit, and so you can stay and listen to me talk, or you can just go about your day and do the things that you need to do today. So for those of you that are hitting the pause button, then we'll just pause. And then when you hit the start button, then I'll continue. And if you don't hit the start button on some level, I'll continue anyway. Okay. Let's talk a bit about what I refer to as the big three. So on a soul level, we've gone back to an event. We are still connected with our soul energetically, even when our soul goes through the portal of time and goes back to an event to release and integrate the energy of the event for itself. All of those souls have gone back to this event. All of those souls are releasing and integrating the energy of that event for themselves. So this is a collective healing. These collective healings have been going on for approximately since 2017, I'm going to say 2018, in around that area when I was asked to invite all the souls affected by the event back to the event. So that's become rather large. But the big three emotional vibrations, can we just say emotions are a vibration? That's how we recognize them. We may say, oh, well, I recognize grief because I get snotty or tears come to my eyes, or, my body starts moving in a particular way that lets me know, maybe it's called crying, I'm crying, therefore I'm feeling grief and loss. So that's one experience of grief and loss, and probably one of the most common in terms of physically. And then there's also fight, flight. So fear can also be referred to as panic or anxiety. And that's a feeling like something's wrong. And it makes us want to run or flee or climb a tree or fight, or get really defensive. And that's the fight or flight mechanism that's been in our nerve systems, through generations, of our ancestors. It seems like war has been going on a long time. People try to take other people's stuff for a long time. You have stuff, I want your stuff, let's fight over it. So that's grief, and that's fear, and then anger. Now I would say I either have the most experience or the least experience with anger. Because I would say that anger was not allowed in my family of origin, my original siblings and parents. Anger wasn't allowed, but my experience may have been that I was intimidated by the fear of others, by the ability of others to cause me pain, and I contracted my own energy inside myself, and you may have done this as well, and that energy contracted inside yourself is your earthly power, it's your body power. So if you contracted that energy inside yourself, it contracted, and I'm going to use this as an example of your sacrum, which is in your pelvis. And so there's the top of the sacrum. It's a triangular kind of shaped bone, but the point is at the bottom. And so this would be the area of the coccyx or the rudimentary tailbone. But the sacrum is our identity, perceived to be our identity in the world, and the coccyx is where we store our power. So if you've seen a dog, some dog that's been kicked and somebody brings their foot up and the dog tucks and it curves its tail, puts its tail between its legs, and it gets out of the way because it's used to being maybe kicked by someone. Energetically, when we're threatened, we feel fear, and the fear tends to be in the shoulders and in the rib cage, and our hands tend to clench and we get ready to run or fight. And even sometimes after the thing that scared us is gone, we still hold the energy of that inside ourselves. So maybe someone who's been through repeated traumas related to being afraid, not feeling safe, they'll appear to kind of hunch over and their front will be pulled down, and over time, they tend to walk down the street like this, as opposed to like this, as opposed to upright and feeling relatively energetically free to be themselves. Well, the reason I said I may have the most and the least experience related to anger, I may have some of the less experience with dealing with anger because I have been afraid of it, because I was possibly made to feel afraid of it, my own power, because it disrupted the family system. You may have had a similar thing. Sometimes, only the father's allowed to be angry. Sometimes only the mother's allowed to be angry. Sometimes everybody's allowed to be angry. Different families have different dynamics based on their traumas and their histories of trauma. So, approximately a week ago, I'm going to say, time is becoming difficult to kind of navigate when something happened, but it was approximately a week ago or so where I woke, and I might have written about it, so you might be able to go, oh, you said that on this date. But at 1 a.m, I came out of the dream world just in a complete panic. Like the energy I was feeling was just panic. So I felt that energy of panic, and it woke me up. And I worked with it for a couple hours, so from 1 to 3, and then I felt like I had pretty much settled it, and I went back to sleep. In the morning, I spoke with my wife, and she said at 1 o'clock in the morning, she woke up in a panic. And she didn't get through it, so she basically was not back asleep for the rest of that morning from 1 o'clock on. And then there was 2 other incidents where I observed something, where there was a physical reaction of someone, which my mind saw as that person being shot. The way the reaction was like shot in the back, the way the body reacted. And I had a really strong reaction to that visual. Then something else happened that triggered me off in a major way as well. And I tend to not get triggered very frequently anymore. I tended to get triggered fairly continuously, but learn to deal with it. But lately, there's been much less of that. But in the past week, there's been multiple times of like major triggering. So what I want to talk about is the last 28 years, 27 and a half, but when the being Abrahamanad incarnated into the earth as the soul of the earth, who was replacing the soul of the earth, who had been the soul of the earth for 13,000 years. Now this being Abrahamanad was taking over as the soul of the earth for the next 13,000 years. And Abrahamanad telepathically told me that there would be a 28-year cycle of cleansing that would go on as a transition period between the old 13,000 year cycle and the new 13,000 year cycle. So it's the complete cycle is 26,000 years, and it somehow has poles, maybe a North Pole, South Pole. It relates to the movement of our planet and our sun around the central sun. And it's approximately a 26,000 year cycle. So I was told that there would be 7 years of physical cleansing. So from 97 to 2004. There'd be 7 years of emotional cleansing from 2004 to 2011. There'd be 7 years of, mental cleansing was the next one. So 2004 to 2011 was mental cleansing. 2011 to 2018 was emotional cleansing. 2018 to 2025 was spiritual cleansing. So we've been through the physical, the mental, the emotional, and we're got 6 months left of the spiritual cleansing. Well, in my experience, and that's all I can talk from is my experience, in my experience, things have heated up. So for the past year, so from August 17th of 2023 till now, I've been in a kind of a massive detox process where my body's just been physically cleaning. And I know we're in the spiritual cleaning, but when you clear on a spiritual level, it clears out the whole body, the energetic shift, and the body gets rid of things that are no longer useful, whatever. And one of the things I've been aware of is how much more aware I've become of fear just in the environment. And of course, when people are bombing other places, and even though I don't watch the news, it still, flashes in from the side when I'm on YouTube, like, blah, blah, it's like there. And I'm not there, but I feel like the day that I was triggered into, I'm pretty sure it was the day, because I did catch that was the news, the day I was triggered into that panic response at 1 o'clock in the morning was the day that in the Middle East crisis that the walkie-talkies began exploding and killing groups of people. So that was the day that panic response happened. So I figured there was a relationship, because I work with a world healing field. So I feel lots of things that go on in the world healing field. And I don't always know what's going on, but I'm always grounding the disturbance from these current traumatic experiences. So I would say the past few days I've become more aware of anger. And anger, I'm going to describe anger as our earthly power held down. So anger can be explosive. Anger can lead towards violence, or just expression of intensity, intense feelings towards another, and maybe the feeling of hatred. anger, resentment. How dare you? It's a dissociation of ourself from other. Like you are the bad one. On some level, some of the time I'm the good one. Some of the times I'm the bad one. But you're the bad one, and I'm trying to be a good one, and you're making me a bad one. Whatever, all these things that are made up when we're triggered. This last 6 months of the spiritual cleansing is rapid. So if you've had the feeling possibly over the last month or 2 or 3 that there's way too much, you can't deal with it, I've had that feeling myself. Like, oh, it's too much, it's too much, it's too much. And then it's just like, okay, and then I work with it, and then it's like, oh, okay, it's okay, and then it's too much again, and then it's okay, and then it's too much again, and then it's okay. But in order to cleanse the level of stuff that we may need to cleanse, the memory, who we've been as a person, all the traumas we've caused, all the traumas we've experienced, all those things, in order to release and integrate the energy of all those things, we've got to be fairly active on an energetic level. And I have felt very active on an energetic level. So hopefully my intention of talking about these things with you is to let you know you're not alone if you feel like it's too much. I can just say from the clients I work with over the phone that the majority of them feel like it's too much. And I was given some information about one of my clients who had what we might term kind of gone over the edge, kind of lost herself, lost her sense of who she is in the world. Some things happened and just over the edge. And ended up in some mental health facility, care in some mental health facility. And I'm not surprised that this is happening for people, all over the place. Some people are still maybe walking around saying, like, I don't know what people are worried about. And then there's a lot of other people like, whoa, this is just so intense. And no matter where you are in that spectrum, where you are on the spectrum, you could be like, oh, the energies are so intense, or, oh, I don't feel a thing. And it may be that the energies are just inside, my head, or just my experience. But from what I get from others, there are many people are having this experience, having this feeling and this thought that this is too much. So I wonder if we can shift that. And one of the ways it was suggested to me to shift how I feel about the energetics that I feel around me is to create more space for myself. And today, for the first time, when I was helping you set up the field, and I suggested that you state out loud, I connect to my deep self, and then I connect to my higher self, and then I added for the first time, I connect to my highest self, which kind of opens up the spaciousness. It lets you know how big you as that self that I am, how big that self is, and connects you to that self. And then the space around you more than likely begins to feel like a lot more space. And when you connect in that space, there's the tendency to feel more connected to those energies that are behind everything working out. So you grounded yourself to the healing center of the earth, which is grounding to the energetics of Abrahamanad, the soul of the earth. So when you ground to the healing center of the earth, you're grounding into the energetics of the soul of the earth, which will help you stay grounded. When you open up to the healing power of the one, you're opening up to the one consciousness. You're not opening up to one being, you're opening up to one consciousness of all beings. And it's that one consciousness that's assisting all these changes to take place in this process on this earth at this time. So a lot's taking place here. And if you feel like you're kind of, surfing a tidal wave, a tsunami of change, you and I are feeling very similar. That's what I feel like I'm doing, is I'm surfing a tsunami of change. And it's constant, and the dream world is rather magnificent in terms of the ability to change in that dream world. And in this dream world as well. So you got the dream world where you go to sleep at night and you enter that dream world. Or you've got the dream world when you wake up in the morning and you're aware of this dream world, because maybe it's all a dream world. And I think tomorrow is a day of the blue night, N-I-G-H-T, and it's all about awakening the dream, bringing in the dream. And also tomorrow night, and if you want to, you can go to Flock, F-L-O-C-K, which is Dance Works. Flock is a dance company that my stepdaughter, Alice Clock, is a co-director of with Florian Lochner. And together, Florian, F-L, and Clock, O-C-K, equals Flock. And they've got a dance company and they're choreographers, and they've made a piece called Quest, which relates to, I think, somewhat relates to the Ark, Search for the Ark. But anyway, it's I think an Arthurian tale in dance, but it should be quite moving. But that's taking place tomorrow night in Kirkland, Washington. So you can go to Flock and you can read about the dancers that'll be involved. If you live in the Seattle area and Kirkland doesn't seem too long of a drive for you, then you can it's very reasonably priced. And you can go and see some of the finest dancing available on the planet at this time. And during the evening of a blue night, which is the dream world coming into being, and through dance. Okay, so I'll be able to tell people that they can come back at 33:42, and this will be to close up the healing field. So they can start at 6 minutes. I'll figure that out later. So, welcome back. And I ask the higher self and all the other beings to assist all the souls that return to the event to combine with that part of their soul that had remained at the event and bring their combined soul back into their body in present time with all of its wisdom, power, and clarity. And I would ask all those souls to ground themselves into the healing center of the earth and open up a portal for the delivery of the new energies into the earth at this time. And I would ask that these new energies be brought in. And activated. And I let the universe and beyond know that this has been done and that it's good. So I hope this serves you well. And yeah, and that's probably enough. And now must go at 36 minutes or so. Now must go.